just want to thank you so much for being here. Welcome to our show. It's a pleasure to have you.
Right?
That's right. That's right.
Well,
thank you so much for having me, guys.
It's incredible because the viewers, it's hard to appreciate, but right before we came on, Emilio asked us, how do I say thank you for having me here in Farsi? یک بار بهشون گفتیم که ممنون از دعوت و به سرعت ایشون accept کردن. یه بار دیگه say it one more time.
ممنون از دعوت.
حتی از من بهتر گفتن. خیلی جالبه. ممنون از دعوت. خیلی عالی بود.
You made an amazing point. You said you speak 5 languages?
Yeah.
And so languages are very easy. You got that kind of ear. What languages do you speak?
Well, I speak Spanish, Italian, Hebrew, Arabic, and English. I think I've been very blessed, like, you know, to hear something and just like repeat it or copy it, and you just learn it.
Yeah, and you obviously have a lot of interest in international affairs and people and languages and cultures, and we'll get into that in just a second.
The food.
The food, that's number one.
Food.
Oh, see, you and I are already bonding.
Absolutely.
I'm a foodie too.
If the food is good, the language is great.
Yeah, I love it.
That's what I love.
And the hearts are warm. That's all that matters.
Absolutely.
So I'll tell you what, why don't we start from the beginning. Tell us a little bit about your background. Obviously, you're a very successful filmmaker and an actor as well. Tell us a little bit about your background, kind of introduce yourself, your biography, and then we'll get into some of your specific projects and your future plans.
Well, my mom is Italian, my dad is Moroccan. I became a filmmaker in, it's funny because the way I became a filmmaker is very funny. I used to watch films with my mother. See, she used to watch a lot of foreign films like Indian, Turkish and Arabic films, which are very dramatic. If you watch them, it's like you can call it soap opera in Spanish, but they're very extremely dramatic. So as a kid, I used to watch it. I think I watched close to 5,000 films as a kid. Like my mother said, you sit here and you watch it. So I got to New York in '99 and I studied at the Actors Studio.
Oh, no way. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's a great school. Like I recommend to all beginners to start over there in New York because this place will like flip you up like a tomato and you're going to learn. I had a chance to work on film over there in New York. That's where everything started, in New York. And then I started traveling the world with some foreign work, like Spanish and all that stuff. And I moved to Los Angeles and I started like... I've been on 26 films and did some TV shows and all this stuff. And for me, to be a filmmaker is take ideas and pursue it, you know. There's a lot of talking. It's a lot of like, yeah, I can do this, I can do that. But for me, it's take the ideas that I'm creating and go and make it as a film. And as a filmmaker, it's not easy to be in an independent world because, you know, you have different categories. You have the finance, you have the story, you have the development, you have the people, all that stuff. But you know what? If you want something, you overcome all that and you accomplish what you want to do. My first film I started as my baby called Last Man Standing is based on a true story of the Israeli mafia. What's great about the story is in the mid-'80s, when the Italian got busted by Rudy Giuliani, the mayor of New York, they call it the pizza connection. The Italian used to transfer drugs in a can of tomatoes to the pizzerias in all over New York boroughs. And then when they used to basically manufacturing the drugs all over America. When a couple of Italians become informant and all this stuff, the distribution stops. A new group born called the Israeli Mafia. Now, when I say Israeli Mafia, I didn't come and invent it. We've been investigating this movie over like 3 years. And I found out, the first guy I found is the informant, Roman Gonen, the guy who basically informed on this group. And, you know, so we went to, after 5 months of investigation, I contacted the FBI.
Wow.
Now, it's not easy to get to the FBI because you're talking about a guy in a witness protection program.
Yep.
So after like constantly phone calls and different connection, finally one day I get a phone call from the informant. I call it informant because they call it the rat, they call it whatever.
That's the more respectful term for it.
Absolutely, it's a human being. Listen, everybody's a human being. You have the respect to any person. My job is not to judge him.
Right.
My job is to make a movie. So after I contacted them, we met at the Bellagio in Las Vegas, and everything started over there. 6 months later, you have to understand, this documentary started as a feature film called Dead Sea. And when we started the documentary, I didn't know I'm going to do a documentary. But I have so many footage, and I say, this is very interesting. 6 months later, I got a call from The Godfather. And that was very interesting because my crew, they didn't want to get involved because they got scared.
Well, sure.
They say, you know, I have kids, I don't want to get killed. I say, this is a joke. We're a filmmaker. Nobody is a gangster. I decided that I'll go. I took one of my photography. We flew to Israel from Los Angeles, and he treated us like wonderful hospitality.
Wow.
Over the course of our documentary, people got killed. The only guy who didn't speak is The Godfather. The Israeli group, if you watch the documentary, they build over 2 major guys. One is Ethan Chia and Johnny Attias. Most of the people in the group are dead. The only people who survive is the informant and The Godfather. So when we did the interview, it was funny because we had the Israeli police after us because they thought we working for him to kill the informant.
Of course.
So I say, guys, you know, we're just making a film and I want to know the truth. And that's a new documentary got born. And obviously, I'm not involved in the politics side, the informant, The Godfather. It was a great story that the FBI basically gave a birth. And when I started investigating, this is the only group in New York City who did in 4 years what not the Russian, not the Italian, not the Asian, nobody did in 4 years.
Yeah.
If you think about Israeli, right? You think about Palestinian problems.
Right.
You think about the Jerusalem. You think about all kind of things. But to think about a mafia, like people say, I don't think about Israeli mafia. This group was 2,500 people, operated worldwide. I'm talking about 26 countries. And they did, the structure they built is so funny because when I say mafia, people will go and relate it to the Italian mafia.
Right, of course.
There's a main man. There's all kind of names they give it. In this group, if you make money, you win. And we finished a wonderful documentary. And you see, when I say education on the documentary, it's also teach people in the world of crime. There's 3 places you're going to end, basically: in jail, dead, or in the witness protection program. Or maybe number 4, 10, maybe that they left the world of crime. Easy money, right?
Yeah.